What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? We got a new show alert, right? We have Mexican Dynasties, which is coming on Bravo. It came on tonight. So we have season 1, episode 1. So look, I'm just going to do an overview. Whenever it's a brand new show, they just got to give you the lay of the land, tell you who's who, what's what. But I think overall, I think this show is a fun show. I think I'm going to continue to review it. And it's giving you something different. Like, even when they show the scenes of the upcoming season, you don't see a whole lot of, like, fighting and stuff like that. Now they throwing shade. They throw some shade in these confessionals, but it's fun. Like, basically, so I'm gonna just give y'all the breakdown, and I'm not even gonna sit here and try to pronounce these last names because I don't want to embarrass myself, and I don't want people in my comments, and I don't want nobody to think I'm being disrespectful because I'm not. But the show takes place in Mexico. We have 3 separate families who are, they said in Mexico they're called dynasties, and so we have 3 families who, I mean, I think even by American standards, they would be considered probably like a dynasty. But we have one family, they're an entertainment family. The father, Fernando, he was like the Mexican David Cassidy, like in the 70s and 80s. He, was on every woman's, wall, or guy. We're going to find out later on he was on a guy's wall too. He's been in all these movies and telenovelas and all this stuff. He has clearly had work done. Like, his whole face is plastic. But, okay. His wife is his manager, and she's extra. She's real extra. And I think as the season goes on, we're going to see how extra she is. They have 2 sons. One son, they treat like, he's 27 years old. He still lives at home. He gets up every morning and goes and gets in their bed with them for cuddle time, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm good with living at home. Why wouldn't I be? And I can have my friends over to hang out. I'm like, you are 27 years old. That is not even the language that you should use. I have my friends over to hang out. Okay. Then they have another son who's married. He married Miss Puerto Rico World or something like that. And she said that when she told her mom who his dad was, her mother like fell out and was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, like I loved him growing up and blah blah blah. So, definitely an icon, but she was like, I didn't know who he was. But we find out that they treat their sons totally differently. One son, the one that lives with them, he is like their baby, blah blah blah. But then the one that married Miss Puerto Rico, he's sort of the black sheep. He said he was sort of the rebel. He said, they had a band. Him and his brother had a band before he met his wife. But once he met his wife, your priorities change when you fall in love. And he said, we fell in love. And, my family basically told me that I had to choose either my wife or choose the band or choose working with the band. And I chose my wife because I loved my wife. And he said, so that's pretty much been that. They didn't really let me live that down. And we see later on in the episode where the son comes to visit, and it's this whole thing about where he was going to sleep. The youngest son, the 27-year-old, he tried out for The Voice Mexico and made it. And so now they're treating him like royalty. Oh, he's got to sleep in his own bed. He has to have his full night's rest. He can't, because he has to rest his vocal cords and everything. So the parents, the parents were like, you want to sleep in our bed and we'll sleep in his bed. I mean, we'll sleep on the air mattress so he can have his bed. I said, what kind of shiggity is that? First of all, hell no, I don't want to sleep in y'all bed. And his wife said that. She was like, no, we don't want to sleep in y'all bed. And they were like, why not? She was like, because y'all have sex in that bed. He gonna say, I mean, we have. And the wife was like, well, what's the difference between sleeping in our bed versus sleeping in a hotel where thousands of people have had sex? And I'm like, her point is somewhat valid, but there's a difference in some anonymous people who had sex in the bed before me versus my in-laws. I'm not sleeping in my in-laws' bed either. Like, no, I wouldn't even be comfortable. But the fact that they were going to give up their bed because they didn't want their son to have to give up his bed because he's going to be on The Voice Mexico, like, what? And so you just see you see where that dynamic is headed for the rest of the season. But they're fun. There was like they had to have a mandatory earthquake drill, honey. And the mama, first of all, the earthquake drill was at 1:00. and they had to get their maid to wake them up at 12:30. So that already let you know how they living. That they would still sleep at 12:30, so they would be up for the drill at 1 o'clock. And then the mama, I believe her name is Manny. Manny, yeah, I think it is. Honey, she had all her jewelry on, okay? Because she said that if there were, in the case of a real earthquake and you can't get to your money, she said, I can always barter something. And she just had an arm full of gold on her neck, honey, and had on heels. And the maid had to tell her, you can't, you, you can't do a drill in your heels. Because they live in the penthouse. And so they had to walk, because, in a earthquake, you can't take the elevator. Although when we had the earthquake here in D.C. a few years ago, because we don't know nothing about earthquakes here in D.C., honey, we took the elevator. But anyway, it's a whole nother conversation. So, like, technically, technically, she had to walk down 20 flights of stairs, and they had to tell her to put some damn flats on or some sneakers. She was like, I've been wearing heels my whole life. They were like, put on some flats. That's what I mean by she extra. Honey, it took them so long to get down the steps that by the time they got down the steps and was coming out the building, the drill was over and everybody was going back in the building. They came out and people were passing them going back in the building. And they were like, did we miss it? We missed it. I was like, they're fun. They're going to be fun. They're the life of the party. So anyway, that's the first family. Then the second family we have, they're a brother and sister duo, and they have a luxury car dynasty. And come to find out, their father or grandfather, maybe it was their grandfather, he was the first person to bring a luxury car dealership to Mexico City, because they're in Mexico City. I don't think it was the whole country of Mexico. I think it was Mexico City, but it may have been the whole country of Mexico. But he actually bought the luxury cars. It was funny because at the beginning we see the brother and sister, they live probably a block away from each other, and we see her loading up her kids in the car to go to the brother's house because they're setting up to surprise him, because he had been traveling for like the last, I want to say she said 3 weeks, and it was either 3 weeks or 3 months. Lord, I need to take better notes. It was either 3 weeks or 3 months, and they got in the car to drive to the brother's house, and they got into a Mazda, and I was like, I was expecting something a little more exotic, but okay, Mazda, cool. And literally, they packed up the car to drive, and I mean, literally, they went, I don't even think it was a block. Like, it probably took y'all longer to put that shit in the car than it would have been for y'all to walk down the street, but okay. And the brother comes in, he's the first openly gay man in Mexico to adopt children, I want to say. That's how they worded it. And again, I don't know if we're talking about the whole country of Mexico or Mexico City, but I think he was in the country of Mexico. And one of the things they were talking about was how Mexico gets this bad rap, and people think Mexico is just like this, third world situation. And they were like, we had gay marriage before the United States. We drive Teslas. We this, we that. So I think this would be a good show to dispel some of those stereotypes that people have about Mexicans. Because they even talked about that. Like, people act like Mexicans just, all they do is cook people food, clean people houses, and they're good gardeners or something. So I think this would be a good show for that. Because, again, they just look like they're having fun. But anyway, so the brother and sister, they also have a fashion show. A show about fashion on TV down there. So they're fun too. But they are really, really close to the point where, like I said, people were shady in their confessionals. A couple of other people in their confessionals were like, it's almost incestuous how close they are. It's a bit much. Like, when he got ready to adopt his children or to have his children, he told her she had to get pregnant and have kids so their kids would be the same age. And she did it. Yeah. There was a scene where her parrot died, and she waited for him to get home so they could have the funeral for the parrot, and the parrot was in her freezer. Yeah. So, I want to say, okay, so that's the second family. So then the third family that we are dealing with is, the brothers' names are Paulina and Oscar. That's the brother's name, Paulina and Oscar. So the third family we're dealing with are mother and daughter. It is, I didn't write their name down. Why didn't I write their name down? Anyway, I didn't write their name down, I don't think. But it's a mother and daughter, and their father just passed away, so they're still mourning the death of their father. And their father was a their dynasty is shoot, what did I wrote all this down, y'all. The third father was luxury car. Oh, they have a soda, Lord. They have a soda dynasty. So their father started the soda, this a soda company that's very popular in Mexico. So they have a soda dynasty. I knew it was something I was missing. Okay, and so the daughter is moving back to Mexico from Beverly Hills to help with the mom with the transition. After they had been married for like 55 years, she had known him since she was like 16 years old or something, like 13 years old or something like that. So y'all know, anytime you're dealing with something like that, that's a big transition. So the daughter's moving back home to support the mom. Now, come to find out, the mom is like Mexican royalty in her own right. She's like the Joan Hills, Lord. The Joan Rivers. She does the whole fashion police. She's writes a fashion she's a fashion critic, very respected. If she says it's good, it's good. If she says it ain't good, it ain't good. That kind of thing. And she is always getting on her daughter about her weight. Like, they showed a couple of scenes where she's talking about her daughter gaining weight and being fat, and that's the kind of stuff that's the kind of stuff that makes people anorexic. That's the kind of stuff that makes people gain weight. And they kind of poke fun at it, but I think it's gonna be. I think it's a real issue. But certainly they have a good relationship. And you see that, they're dynamic. So a couple of things that went down in this episode. I already told y'all about the parrot. Okay. So the Fernando is having a welcome home, really a welcome party for the daughter who's moving back from Beverly Hills. And she asked her mom, will she go? She said, I know you're not really up for parties. She was like, but, I really, would like for you to come or what have you. So the mom was like, I'm going to come. And she had this gorgeous dress on. She looked really nice. So they have the party. And again, the brother and sister are over the top and extra. And that's when people were sort of making their little comments about, I don't know. I don't think anybody really believes that they have an incestuous relationship. I just think that people are like, they're a little bit too close, We see where the brother, Oscar, is talking about how, he had that he had a crush on Fernando when he was a kid, and now he's loving up on Fernando's son, the one that's married, right? And I was like, ooh, that's a bit much, bruh. You might want to bring that down a little bit. And then at the party, we see where the son and the father did this duet, and the other son was a little... I think part of it was jealous, but I think part of it was like, oh my God, like, they pretend like these things are so spontaneous, and it's so obvious that they set this whole thing up so they could sing the song. Like, it's so obvious. And you just see that whole family dynamic. Like, I think that thing is going to get real deep. And then you see where the mom... I'm going to get the names, y'all. I apologize. I know with new shows, the names... it take me a minute to get all these names together. But the mom, the woman who lost her husband, Manny, Fernando's wife, came over and was like, oh, I'm so sorry, extend my condolences. And she was like, I appreciate her condolences, but the funeral was like 3 weeks ago. So I'm not really sure why I'm just getting her condolences now. Like, I guess she's a busy woman. She was a little shady, but I was like, yeah, that is a little... interesting that you just getting a condolence now at the party, but okay. But they, the party looked like it was nice and everybody had a good time. Like I said, you could tell that they genuinely are friends. Like, sometimes on these reality shows they make up relationships, but they had pictures showing, them hanging out and doing things together. So you could tell these people really are friends with each other and they really do interact with each other. Now, how deep they go, I don't know. But it looks like it's a fun show. I will continue to review it. Next week's review will be a lot more in-depth, and I promise you I'll do better with the names. But I just wanted to give y'all a quick overview. Check it out, though. It came on tonight on Bravo. My DVR picked it up on demand, because I put it in my DVR when I saw the commercial for it, so I forgot about it until I saw it tonight. But check it out, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.